punters check the opening price with the spivs, then beat them at their own game.
The game is finishing because now, with this internet, with all these people putting them on auction sites and all that, you know, you go to a gaff, all of a sudden they're making, like, for argument's sake, 800 quid a pair. And everybody's going, like, we've heard they're going for £1,000 a pair on the internet. So there's nothing left for you.
They've made the band so tight now because they phone up and say, how much are they, sir? Bomb, 800 quid. Next minute he gets someone else to ring up, hello, I've got a pair for sale, do you want to give 900 quid?
And all the general public do is wait for us to open up with our starting prices, our opening book, and they follow suit. And 9 times out of 10, they're out more than us. eBay. I mean, what a lot of bollocks.
Yeah, there's no debs or nothing. It's just not a ticket down now. I've been all week. Just been making just absolute crazy prices. I just bought a pair for Wednesday for 2007.
Wimbledon is one of the big fixtures in the Touts calendar. From his office at First Class Entertainment, Al plots this year's campaign. Legally, he can only trade in debentures, Wimbledon season tickets.
Debentures are very, very short this year. Why, we don't know. The very first week, obviously, Wimbledon was very wanted, and they booked a lot of tickets for this week. Now, the second week, there's plenty of tickets out there. Obviously, the market was overfilled, but they were making substantial good money, very good money. Yes, shots. 2-1 down already.
Al's a genuine tennis fan,
break him now,
but he can only watch on TV. He can't get anywhere near the courts. He and Slim have an injunction banning them from going within 500 metres of the club during the tournament. The Wimbledon authorities clearly mean business.
Pathetic backhand.
A typical ticket tout is normally a person from London, very often from the East End of London. They're late 30s, mid 40s, not in other gainful employment, and there are people, they vary. There are people there who have serious criminal backgrounds, and there are others who are just chancers.
All right, we may not speak with a plum in our throat, but I believe we're eloquent enough, and I think we can hold a conversation, despite our accents. And I think if he came over here, he'd be pleasantly surprised that we would hold our own with him in a conversation. You know, it's not a battle.
1991, the club made any tickets other than debenture tickets non-transferable. At that time, there were well over 150 touts standing between the club and the station, and that was becoming very threatening to punters. The club was getting a lot of complaints about that, so we drafted the ticket conditions and set out the basis upon which you could actually make tickets an enforceable contract. And that contract says you cannot sell them, you cannot transfer them.
Shania Twain's going tomorrow, and we've got to get a 6. We've got 4 in the same staircase, and yeah, we've got to get the other pair. So really, we're looking to chop 4. Well, you won't have a 6, will you? I need a pair in the same staircase because of her body. You might have a 6 in the same staircase. Yeah? Have a look, Dan. I've got staircase 20. Yeah, 2 pair. Because her bodyguards have got to be right with her.
But even dealing with the PRs of celebrity clients like Shania Twain, Al and Slim can only get as close as the local park. They're banned for life.
Just ludicrous, isn't it? I mean, what are they saying? That I couldn't buy an house here? I don't know how long it's down.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, when you've got paedophiles being released from prison, they're allowed to move next door to their victims.
Or in their area, or maybe not next door, but
that's right. But
they live in their area.
They're living in their area. You know, it's ludicrous.
I think it has been very successful when you compare it to other events. I mean, if you go to, say, Twickenham, or you go to any big football match, you'll see far more touts there, and they're right in your face. They're not legitimate traders, and they cause problems.
At the end of the day, if he is a lawyer, you know, he's got a job to do. He's being employed to do a job, and obviously he's going to do that to the best of his ability. But on the other hand, my opinions are that I think he's took this personal.
I've received telephone threats from specific touts threatening me with violence, and I've also had violence threatened me personally If we find them on the streets outside Wimbledon, then the courts will usually give us an injunction which prevents the tout from operating within the vicinity of the club during the championships.
The boundary must be going right through this lake. Should we hire a boat? Just sit in the middle of the lake and say this is where it is. No, and that could tell, we'd probably pop up with a snorkel, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're next. Wimbledon, eh? If I wanted to watch rowing, I'd go to Henley.
But now the Spivs have a brand new market to crack. The Rugby World Cup in Australia. It's the biggest sporting event of the year. They've never been, they don't know what to expect. It's a massive gamble. But it's a challenge that the British touts simply can't resist. Al's looking ahead. He can see the internet is eating into his business. He's diversifying.
I've got something I hope that will come good when they build the new stadium. You know, I'll be able to relax, come away from tickets, pressure. So yeah, I'm going to give it another 2-3 months. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to pull out. I'm going to pull out the ticket business and start really enjoying my life, look after the bar.
Al's invested in a sports bar just next to where they're building the new Wembley Stadium. It's starting to pay off. Meanwhile, Slim is still working the streets. He's beginning to think about a trip to Australia and the Rugby World Cup. If England make the semi-finals, it could be a big earner. But he's never been to Australia. It's unknown territory. It's a huge risk.
You're looking forward to the big events all the time now. All right, please God, England do get to the World Cup final in the rugby. But I would suspect if they do, you won't get a lot of orders at the last minute because the flights are already going to be booked. How the punter's going to get there?
Once England do make it through to the semi-finals, Slim's on the plane. 50,000 England supporters are converging on Sydney. But it's not a happy landing. Slim falls ill before he gets on the plane, and the first 3 days are spent holed up in his hotel.
I spoke to Al this morning, about 4 o'clock this morning our time, which was like, you know, what would it have been, like 5 o'clock in the afternoon their time. Oh, he had the right arm. Where the fucking hell have you been? Oh, we had an order for 4 finals. I've had to do it in London. Fair enough, you know. I mean, I've just been out of action for a few days, but he's got me number now, so he said he might have something else next week, you know.
Out and about, Slim's first call is to a small band of British touts who've already made it to Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not a happy bunch.
Everybody you spoke to has struggled to get their expenses. Normally you get something, but at the end of the day, the matches are so far apart, the expenses involved in travelling to and fro, and the stadiums are too big here for rugby.
The bad news is that 2 British touts have already been deported.
Street trading laws and all that, you know, so, but they're very strict street trading laws. It's not a slap on the wrist, they will deport you, you know, so we'll have to keep them peeled, as Shaw Taylor used to say.
Slim needs to raise some cash quickly.